Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing State of the Onion by Julie Hyzy. This is the first novel in a cozy mystery series. It's a culinary cozy mystery series, hence onion in the title instead of union. And with the play on words, you might also guess that this has a political theme. It's set in the White House, so the novel itself isn't political. It is a culinary-based novel, but I got interested in this series just because of that White House element. I thought it'd be fun just to see this culinary mystery series in the White House. In the very first chapter of this novel, there's a great hook. Ollie's late for work, buying the retirement gift for the executive chef. On the way into the White House, she witnesses a man streaking across the green at the White House, chased by Secret Service agents. And I don't mean streaking as in naked, just running very fast. The man's not near Ollie at the start, but he heads in her direction, not knowing she's there. She gets into the action. She hits the guy over the head with the retirement gift that she's carrying, knocks him to the ground, hits him again for good measure, and the agents capture him. Now, at that time, Ollie's not sure who the guy is, just thinks that he's a bit crazy, one of those people who jump the fence and try to run into the White House. We learn a bit more later on that he's a member of possibly the CIA or some other clandestine agency in the government, and he has a message for the president or a warning. We don't know what it is until further into the plot. Also in this plot, we learn that there's an assassin on the loose, and this assassin has his eyes set on somebody in the White House, possibly the president. Nobody's sure at the very start, and we do learn more later on, but it takes a while for that to develop. The key to this novel, though, is that Ollie gets caught up in this investigation, as we know she will, because it is a cozy mystery, and it wouldn't be a mystery if the main character wasn't sticking their nose in, getting involved where they shouldn't be. Her boyfriend, Tom, is a Secret Service agent, and he gets a bit exasperated when she's always trying to stick her nose in because he wants her to be safe, wants her to butt out, of the action and the case that the Secret Service is investigating. Ollie can't help herself, and she is soon contacted by the agent that was running into the White House. Ollie and the agent set up a meet. Something happens to the agent while they're trying to meet, while he's trying to pass on a message to her. Ollie is the only person alive who's seen the assassin's face, and the assassin's name is the Chameleon. She sees his face and she escapes and lives to tell the tale. Now she's in danger as well, because nobody else has seen his face before. So that sets off a lot of different things in this novel, a lot of different action sequences, and it is exciting to see that happen. And, we sense Ollie's fear and her stress and her trepidation about this, and it is fun for the reader to get involved in an action. It's not an action novel, but there are some action scenes in it, and they're action scenes where an ordinary person is just driven to do something extraordinary to survive. So while all this is happening, we've got the executive chef retiring soon, that position opening, Ollie and another lady rivals for that position to be opened soon, Chameleon on the loose. We've got the chefs in the White House have to prepare for a state dinner with short notice, and that's the culinary aspect coming in. All that's happening all at the same time. There's one thing extra. The rival is also the host of a TV show, and she's invited to do a test meal in the White House kitchen, and she wants to bring a camera crew. So that also adds a bit of fun into this story. All that is just a recipe for a great story, and I found this quite entertaining. Olivia, or Ollie, she's our main character, and of course most of the novel centres around her. She's a really good character. She comes across as very strong-willed, very stubborn in a lot of ways, considering she's keen to investigate even though she's told by the Secret Service not to. She's also very clever, very intuitive, and she's also a bit witty as well. And I do like the way she bounces off some of her colleagues and also some of the people in the White House that she doesn't like so much. And we have one in particular turn up in this novel, Harry. Now, Harry is the current executive chef who's about to retire. And he's a great character, very fatherly, very funny as well, very strong, but it's a shame that he's going to retire at the end of the novel, and we don't know at this stage if he'll make a return appearance. I really hope he does, because he's such a good character, and I do like the way he and Ollie were just good companions and work colleagues throughout this novel. We have Tom. Tom is a Secret Service agent and also Ollie's boyfriend. Ollie and Tom are keeping their relationship secret, even though they've been going out for over a year. We're not sure why they're doing that. They don't need to, because there's no rule against a White House chef going out with a White House Secret Service agent. It seems that he wants to do that more than her, so I'm not sure about why that's come about. We don't get that history. He is a good character, but I just get the feeling that the author writes his character a bit odd sometimes. Early on in the novel, there's a bit of an argument scene where he doesn't want her to investigate, he's trying to dissuade her from getting involved, and she's trying to dig for information that he can't give. I just didn't like the way he was written, because it seemed like the author didn't know how to write that argument scene and was giving him awkward dialogue and just awkward actions in that scene. It just seemed strange for some reason. So in the White House kitchen, we have Olivia and Henry, of course. There are 3 other main chefs in the kitchen: Marcel, Cyan, and Bucky. All 3 are very different, all have different personalities. They're not so much well-rounded as Olivia or Henry at this stage. They're all quite colourful. Marcel is a pastry chef and he's French. So that's a bit of a stereotype there, but even the way he acts in the novel, it's very stereotypical for a high-strung chef. Didn't think the author gave a lot of creativity to that character. Maybe we'll see more in future novels, but I just think that was just too stereotypical. The other 2 chefs in the kitchen, Cyan and Bucky, they're more creative in character. Cyan wears different colour contact lenses. That's one of the main things we learn about her. She's young for a chef, but she's very good. And she comes across as a little bit sensitive at times as well. So Bucky is a bit of a harder nut to crack. He's a bit antagonistic towards the other chefs in the kitchen. He rubs them the wrong way sometimes. Sometimes he just has that bad attitude. So, if you've got a co-worker who sometimes is a bit difficult to get along with, maybe that's someone like Bucky. The last main character that I'll mention is Peter Sargent. Now, in this novel, he's introduced as a new starter to the White House in a new position, and he's meant to be like a sensitivity director, just to make sure that everything the White House staff do is sensitive to different cultures, etc. For a sensitivity director, he's very arrogant and very rude to all the staff, and especially Ollie. For some reason, he really dislikes Ollie, and you get the feeling that he's friends with the other lady that is vying for that new to be opened executive chef position, because he keeps mentioning all through the novel that Ollie's got no hope, the other lady's a shoo-in, when the other lady turns up, Ollie's gone, all through the novel, and he kind of gets people upset and very angry at him during this novel, mainly for that reason. I don't know if he appears later on in different novels. He probably will, because we have to have that tension in some of these stories. We need characters that get our main character riled up a bit, and I think that Peter Sargent's going to play the role of that. Overall, I thought this was a pretty solid, good first novel in a series. The mystery element was there. Not perfect, but it was there. But as in all cozy mysteries, the characters play a really important role. And the main characters in this novel were pretty spot on. There were a few that were a bit of a stereotype, but for most of them, they were really good characters. The assassin character, look, that was really good in this novel. It had a lot of tension, and it had to, because if it didn't, the novel would have been a flop. So for all these reasons, I give this a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a really solid start to the series and it makes me want to read more. I really like the theme in the White House, that culinary theme. It's something I haven't seen before, and I really think that I will enjoy the rest of this series. Fingers crossed that I do.